I'm gonna have to say Usher, because the relationship that he and I have is this telepathical thing that we didn't have to talk about, but it just happened, right? Because I'm not a singer, but the way that I sing the vocals to Usher, he translates it in Usher's word, in his way. And it's a whole different talent to doing that. Like if somebody say something to you, you hear them say it. Most of the time, they say it back the same way that person said it. He translates it the way he wants it to sound, right? So that in itself is crazy. Escape too, Escape was the same thing. When I started singing to Escape, they all four of them, they translated it in the way that they thought it should sound as a group. So I feel like, and I would say Mariah because she taught me so many different things. So I those three just for today.
Just for the day. Somebody was over there saying something, but I ain't gonna point them out. It was like, you're better than me. But now, and what's the different changes in the music industry and in the music industry now? Is there any changes that you can say that change dramatically outside of the CD, the cassette player, vinyl?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I don't like get mad in this room because I know everybody young bosses are trying, but I don't really feel like niggas want to be bosses no more.
They don't.
I think niggas want to be workers more than bosses. Like I never wanted to work for nobody. Like never. Since I was 12, I never wanted to get a job. That was my whole mission to becoming a producer. I had homeboys that was working at McDonald's and they was working on Old National, they was doing this, and I'm like, yo, I'm not fucking cleaning no McDonald's truck. That's not what happened. And I never wanted to work for nobody. And I don't have really see that passion in no cities from no new people that's in the music industry.
So you're talking about not actually working a real job. You're talking about the industry. Like you ain't want to work for nobody in the industry. Yeah. So
I mean, if push come to shove, I did do I used to make a whole vision board of like life. Like, shit, this shit don't work, where you gonna work at?
Yeah, what was you gonna work at?
At Guitar Center.
That ain't bad. You got a discount. That ain't bad.
Like, I would have worked at Guitar Center, I would have loved that job. I probably would have been in there making beats all day, or the drum machines, because this shit just be sitting out. Yeah. I had figured the whole thing out. Like, shit don't work, I'm gonna go work at Guitar Center. They probably kicked me out of it because I would have been there till after hours and all that trying to make beats. But I just think that when I was coming up, I patterned myself after Russell Simmons. I saw what Russell was doing in New York, and I started thinking to myself, if Russell can do this, then I can do it. You know what I mean? And I understood what time was. I understood what the youthfulness of my life meant compared to me getting old, right? So I started really taking advantage of how young I was and trying to activate as much as I could in the younger years of my life as opposed to wait until I got older.
Now, when you look at the South, and I said this, I was on Drink Champs and I was telling Lori this, I said when I was growing up, I paid attention to something that was going on. East Coast had a lot of people signing the labels, right? But the South was creating labels. After you had around you had the J. Prince, Tony Draper, you had Baby, you had a Master P. But these wasn't these wasn't little indie, these was gigantic labels that added so much value to the culture of hip hop and to the game. What was it in the water now where everybody said, even now, these young cats, they got their own operations?
I mean, well, I didn't start like that. Like, mine didn't go like that. Criss Cross, I signed to Rough House Columbia Records in Philly. And then the success of Criss Cross pushed me to say that I should have my own label. I actually wasn't thinking about that because I was determined to crack the code of Atlanta, right? And the code of Atlanta, everybody was independent. I wanted to be the person who signed groups to major labels in Atlanta. And I was actually the first person who did it. My first group, Silk Times Leather, was the first hip hop group signed to a major label in this city.
Now, when we talk about sample, Jump, wasn't that a sample?
Yeah, of course.
How much money did you get? That was Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Jackson, how much money did you have to take that?
I'm bad.
Did they take the whole function?
Nah, no.
Mike wasn't doing anything.
I mean, it took a lot though. You know, if I probably wasn't 100% of the song, it probably would have hurt more than it actually did.
Because you know, when Chris Cross came, they was just destroying it. They just kept coming. But that sample, because you know, a lot of people, some people sample, some people don't. What do you feel about sampling these days?
I'm a sample junkie, so I'm not the person to talk to about that.
You just want to
I'm not, and I'm actually a guy, I won't say I'm the guy, but I'm one of the people that created this business of people tracking samples and getting money for it. Because every time I made a record, you know, it's samples, there was a lot of samples in my records, right? So they start like hiring people that just like watch and look for samples. They didn't have it in the beginning. Like as I got, you know, deeper down, like once I made my album, then I realized it was a person in a company that was like, we clear samples and we heard that you sampled da-da-da-da in the background. And I'm like, how the fuck did y'all hear that? Like that means it started, you know, the education of sampling. They hired some young nigga that knew more about the beats that they heard in the back.
Damn. So now, what are some young producers that came up after you that you mess with like that you really like? Yeah, I like his style. Some young producers. Yeah, producers.
What age?
Anybody younger than you? I said young.
What now?
Yeah, younger guys. This is younger than you.
ATL Jacob, that nigga hard.
Oh yes, yes sir, yes sir.
You know what I mean? You talking about now or you talking about?
I'm talking about now. Everybody before you. Everybody after you.
After me?
Yeah, after you.
It's a gang of producers after me. I mean, Pharrell came after me.
Yeah, who else?
Polo came after me.
Because he was looking like.
He trying to set me up to set. You know what's crazy is Polo get ready like I'm just saying like that was asking me the other day about my song discography, right? And I be forgetting all the songs that I write. But I wrote a song, and Polo, we be coming to the studio, we be kicking this shit. We ain't never even talked about this. I wrote a song for Weezer that Polo produced, and we ain't never even talked about it. I didn't even really be talking about this shit. I forgot. I kind of forgot. I actually didn't even really realize that Polo produced the song. So, you know, people be able to, when y'all gonna make records together, we actually haven't done it before without people like paying attention to it.
Now, when it comes to creating that, you know, creating that room, when you wanted to create songs, you had a writer's camp, or you got writer's camp, producer camp now. Did y'all have them back in the day?
No. Well, I didn't. I'm sure they probably did. So, this is an interesting story that people don't understand about me. I'm from College Park. I'm from the back end of Old National Highway going Fayetteville, right? And when I was growing up and making records or trying to make records, I was too young. I didn't have a car. I wasn't 16. I was 12. I had no vehicle. I had no money, contrary to what everybody believed. I basically was just stuck in College Park. And I didn't even have no resources. So when you don't have no resources, it's kind of like kids today that make music on YouTube or they make whatever. All I could do was learn every piece of the music business because I was the only person there. And I didn't know who to call. I didn't have the resources to call people to say anything. So I was just trying to mix my own records. I was trying to produce my own records. And I ended up writing my own records. So I became like a full 100% producer and songwriter as opposed to like having people that could write for me because I didn't have the resources. I ain't had nobody to call. I was making music in my bedroom in my mom's house. So it was very like, by default, I became 100% songwriter and producer.
Now, songwriting and producing, Who get what percentage of the song? How do the splits go down?
Well, I mean, he's 50% lyrics and he's 50% music.
Now, what if it's multiple people?
I mean, they gotta chop that shit up. Yeah. if you look on these records today, you'll see like 15, 20 names, and niggas is getting 5%, 2%, 8%, 10%, 50%.
Yeah, because like, is it when you got that credibility and when you experience it in the game, do you ask for more? I've seen the kind of people that I don't want this.
I'm sure there's people that do that, but I'm pretty fair. I also learned that, I looked at music as education. There's niggas that make mistakes that come before you, you should really pay attention to them, right? There's people that win, that come before you, you should really pay attention to them. They use all of this as your education for your career, right? So one of the things that I noticed when I was coming up was that I heard my idol, Gene Griffin and Teddy Riley, was arguing about about the splits on songs and publishing, so I started really paying attention to that part of it to understand. So I didn't get into that space, even though I didn't have a Gene Griffin. I still was trying to figure out why was they arguing, because I thought Teddy Riley is the guy, right? So I just Gene Griffin ain't wrote shit. Teddy Riley is Teddy Riley. This is my own, this is my mindset. But then I didn't know nothing about production companies and people signing and things like that. So you have to use that stuff to get the education that you need to move forward.
Did you ever sign a bad contract?
Probably.
Oh, probably. You did.
I mean, of course you probably signed. Like I said, I made a 50th hip hop resolution, basically, on the birth of hip hop the other day. And my resolution is to not ever do any more bad deals, to not make business with people that don't understand our culture. It's a bunch of things in my resolution, because we had 50 years to learn this shit, right? I've had 30 years in this game, and I've had 30 years to learn what I should and what I shouldn't do. So when I say probably, I'm sure I have. But moving forward, it will never be a bad deal for me.
When you was doing your thing, did you have a manager, or you just was doing it?
Yeah, I had my dad was my manager.
After him, there was nobody else?
Yeah. After him, I had multiple people, because I kept seeing, like I said, I'm from here. I was paying attention to other things that other people was doing. So I thought that you should have this person, or you should have this person. But I didn't realize that I was the one that was the most resourceful. I had the most resources of people that I would hire.
Now, when you get the manager, because a lot of artists right here, is a manager somebody that's supposed to spend money, or somebody that's supposed to have resources?
Both.
Both of them, so they supposed to spend the bag, like what type of bag? The chain, the car, what type of thing? No. The reason
it's whatever you can do. You know what I mean? When I found Crisscross, they was just two kids at the mall, right? They was in Green Rock Mall, so my job was to dress them, take them places, feed them, take care of them like they was my kids, right? And I learned that just off that. Nobody told me, right? So then the next group was Escaping. I damn near was doing the exact same thing, right? Then the next group was a brat. I flew her from Chicago. She moved into my house, right? So she was staying in my house free of charge, eating, So it's to whatever you can do to help manage and break these groups. It's not a thing that says this is how it should be done, but if you claim that position, you gotta play it.
You was doing a lot of artist development back there. So is artist development dead?
I know you gotta ask them.
No, I'm asking.
It ain't dead on my end.
What I'm saying is, do people take the time, because we live in a culture now where there's no executive, I ain't gonna say Hollywood executive, the hand artists and all that stuff. They're saying they sit behind the computer more than seeing artists like this motherfucker special. He's not gonna be here for 90 days. Because they're sitting behind a computer, sign somebody that's gonna be here for 90 days, overlook this person instead of developing them. So that's why I'm asking, what is your take on it?
Yeah, that level of artist development is not, present in today's music the way it should be. And it's because, like I said, this generation is learning the way that we learn, right? They learning where they should be paying attention more to things that happened in the past because they could get the education they need by doing that. But they get a little hard-headed, right? And they be like, this young nigga shit, you old niggas don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Like, they be on that shit, you be on that shit.
Yeah, he be on that. He be on that.
But yeah, so, they be on that. But I mean, as a real honest thing to one person to the next, you should pay attention to the past because it's way more education in what has happened than what's happening right now.
All right, now, I don't even know how to break this down, but it seems like I don't know where hip hop would have been if Atlanta ain't doing what it did in these last like decade, like on some real shit. I don't even know and I look at myself as like a hip hop historian, man. Like I know all the shit from the beginning, but it was like Atlanta just came and gave us something that's so brand new and refreshing, and it was like we don't give a fuck. We here, we doing this, we gonna teach y'all. And when I started seeing people mimicking slang, mimicking so much, it was like, damn, what would have happened if we didn't have them, if we just kept going the same way? Because it was times when I heard rappers from the East making certain songs to try to destroy what was going on, but they didn't have power. They stood up so strong and had the influence from the South all the way up to the East Coast that it was like, it was just unbelievable. But I just want to thank you so much for being somebody, that pushed the culture forward and believe in tomorrow. A lot of us be so caught up in yesterday and life and relationships. We be holding on to yesterday so much that we can't even embrace or see or even know or even appreciate tomorrow. You was a believer, you was dreaming, man. So I just want to salute you for dreaming, man. Because of other entities down here, y'all gave us so much. Y'all inspired y'all people that was here. Y'all inspired the South to turn up the equipment to be that. And hip hop is stronger than ever because of that. So I thank Atlanta for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thank Atlanta for that. I want to say that it's not, it seems amazing probably to other people, but Atlanta paid attention to its own culture. And I feel like that's one of the things that you don't ever hear when people start talking about Atlanta hip hop or hip hop music in Atlanta in general. We pay attention to our own culture. Like in New York, the mixtape game was big in New York. It was the mixtape Philly. They had mixtapes, and all these guys mixtape. In Atlanta, the mixtape game is our strip clubs. Right? We go to the strip club, we get a DJ record, the DJ play the record, the strippers get a record, they play it. It's like the same game, right? And if you pay attention to it, then that's what happens. So we paid attention to we paid attention to our own culture. That's why when I did Welcome to Atlanta, I spoke about what was happening in this city, because I could have easily made the song and said I'm riding down Old National, I'm in College Park. Y'all didn't ever hear me say that. I was talking about what was happening in the city of Atlanta and how the city was moving in my eyes, right? And I feel like everybody, whether it be Outkast, Goody Mob, Polo, his company's called Zone 4, right? Zone 4 is Atlanta. It's not, he's representing and he's doubling down on our own culture. Right? Zone 4 is one zone of Atlanta. It don't represent all of Atlanta. It represents the zone that he's come from and where his people from. So it means you doubling down on what it is that's your culture, right? It's not worrying about everybody else's shit. It's doubling down on our own culture. And we all, to this day, still do it. You'll catch Polo Friday night at the city. We be there all the time. You know what I mean? I think Sean want to go get some wings right now.
Listen. Let me tell you the story, right? So I'm in jail. Every rap song talking about Magic City. Me and my homeboy walking to New York. And my homeboy doing big numbers. He had like 40 to 80, right? I'm going home. I'm like, man, whatever you do, I gotta go to Atlanta. Go to Magic City. I said, I'm going. I got it in the book. I got my book, everything I gotta do when I get home. I said, I'm going there. So at the time, when I finally get to there, I was in a relationship, so me and my girl, we go down there, and it was this one girl that me and my homies used to talk about, that we used to see in the magazines, you know, back then they had the hot pics, and all the streets and all the magazines, they had a girl with strip club things in it. I'm like, man, I'm gonna check out one day, that's all. So I'm in there, I go there, this was a magical day. That's why I knew, that's what I knew why they named it Magic City. So I go up in that joint, chilling, trying to be calm, right? My girl was just chilling. So she like, treat you, all right, you know, get the words and all that. Like this shit ain't nothing. So I'm chilling. The girl walked by. I ain't gonna say who she is. I don't know her name. She had all these tattoos on her butt. That's what I know. I mean, big old ass. So listen. So I'm chilling. I see that joint like this. I'm like, so my girl said, what's up? You wanna come over here? Come over here. She goes, hey, baby, come here. And listen, let me tell you something. My life changed that day. Listen, I said, this is what's magical about Magic City. Because I didn't even know I was there no more. Nope, I didn't know. Listen, she throwing the money, I was like this. I woke up in one of these hospitals in Atlanta, I don't know which one it was, but I was in the coma. Listen, we went back to the East Coast. I wrote my homie a 10-page letter describing the story. So like, yo, homie, listen, this shit was magic. And I had a picture of it. So it was like, I like my dream. Magic happened in Magic City. That's one thing, but whew.
By the way, it's a lot of stories like this. This is a real story. A lot of people don't really understand. This is the magic of Atlanta. It is like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's people that, you know, that's why I'm doing the documentaries on Freaknik and Magic City, because both of these things.
Make some noise for that.
Both of these things are valuable to our city as far as growth. I know people hear me talk about doing the Magic City documentary, and the first thing you think about is that ass he was talking about that walked past him. But it's dealing with the growth of the city and how the city actually moves, right? And the politics in this city and how the streets are connected to the politics, right? Where Isaac at? Is Isaac? Did he leave? He was in, but I was just talking about this yesterday because they got this whole thing about this petition about Cop City in Atlanta, right? And you got all these people that I see people on the Instagram that's not from Atlanta that's talking about they want to get you to sign this petition about Cop City. And I just want to say one thing. When they was talking about defunding the police, I was probably the most confused person that didn't understand this conversation, because on Old National Highway, where I'm from, I never seen white cops, right? I never seen white cops come down my block, and if something happened in my neighborhood, whether it be on flash shows or Piccadilly Road or wherever it was at, it was always a black cop that showed up, right? And I say that to say that people don't understand the different movement of Atlanta, right? We talk about a black city. This is a real black city, right? And that's the things that I'm trying to make sure that people that's not from here, people from other places understand the movement of the city. And that's basically what these documentaries that I'm really, really trying to make sure that y'all get the education of that. And I just want to let y'all know that.
Please talk to Deion Primetime. He told me a story about Atlanta one time. He said the greatest place he ever played. He was the greatest place on earth. So if you could interview him for that job.
Well, he said that, but I'm saying the same thing. You know, when I did Welcome to Atlanta, we would leave Magic City at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? We could stay open at 4 o'clock. We would leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we would go to 112. And we stay in 112 at 6:30, 7 o'clock. So Atlanta was almost like Vegas back then, right? So in that magical period of time that you talk about, it's a lot of people that had these stories like you that was coming from out of town. That's why we so full of this motherfucker now. Because they was coming in and they seen that and they got hit with that magic and they don't want to go back to where they came from. So
yeah, you know what? I see more people from the East Coast than I see people from Atlanta. I always run into people, hey, where the hell you been at? Up and down right? Like, shit, I see everybody. This is the whole East Coast. East Coast, Cleveland, New York, it's all up in this thing, man.
I mean, but like I said, the spirit of the city is.
I was going to stay, but I had a girl with I was with Magic City that time. I was moving here the next time.
I'm sure you were.
I just shit, I need to walk down here, that shit.
I think the spirit of the city is entrepreneurial, and people come here and they realize that, you know, if you pay attention to a slutty vegan, you can figure out how to get your own business. If you pay attention to social death or something, or rowdy records with Dallas Arsenal, like I said, Zone 4 Polo, you supposed to learn something, right? I feel like that's what it is. I feel like we have all taught each other. So that's why I wanted to do this today, because I feel like it's important for Atlanta to continue to keep doing things like this and talking to the people and understanding that the education in this city is what got this city to where it is today.
Listen, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate you. We're going to open this up for some question and answer, y'all. Make some noise for JD, y'all. Play the microphone.